This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Today's discussion is pick a different adventure, 4 key concepts. So this concept of picking a different adventure is a concept used by one of my closest friends in the world who constantly uses this concept to describe sort of sometimes calling somebody off of bad behavior or changing behavior. But I think there's 4 key concepts that I could use it on. And I love this phrase, pick a different adventure. So kudos to my colleague. The first concept is this concept, if you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and it doesn't give you different results, much like me trying to play the golf course the same way constantly, this is Einstein's definition of insanity. And so I would say that that's one concept. Don't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. If I'm pitching the same customer on the same thing on and on and on, and that customer doesn't want that, it's insanity to keep on doing it. The second concept I think of, there's this great concept of never quit, never quit. You hear this over and over in business. And I saw one of the great articles the other day, and here's where if you try the same thing for 5 years straight in a business, it's not working. Well, you better pick a different adventure, or you better pivot. One of the two, or just try something different. So that concept. The third thing I think of is in work and in business, there are certain people that we know are difficult to work with, and yet we keep on going back to them. I'm reminded of a famous CEO I worked with who was an impossible person, and he was interesting. But at some point I decided he was a rock better left unpicked up, unopened, unpicked up. And again, rather than going back to that CEO, the idea was pick a different adventure. Similarly, in law practice or in business, there's been certain people that over and over again, we give assignments to over and over again. It comes out not how we like it. And rather than keep on doubling down on those people, the concept would be is pick a different adventure. Don't keep on going back to the same people where it doesn't work. The last thing I would say is, like, there's certain people that you have relationships with where you seem to instigate each other. You seem to poke the bear. And the concept here is, if you've got those relationships with certain people, either pick a different adventure or do everything you can not to poke the bear. There's one of my close friends who I actually love to death, who would periodically always remind me of something I did poorly when I was younger. And it's a long story, but it comes down to losing at something after losing my temper. And he would always talk about the story. And of course, this is something that, of course, was poking me. And of course, I do it to other people at times as well. And the concept would be, again, pick a different adventure. So this is the phrase of the day: pick a different adventure. When something's not working, pick a different adventure. In any event, love this phrase, love the person. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. If you have a particular phrase, a particular idea for a podcast, always feel free to text Scott Becker at 773-766-5322, and we'll look for a way to utilize that podcast. Thank you very much for joining us.